Hey, this is Joker News speaking. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into this one. So, as you know, right now Death Row Records is now owned outright by none other than Snoop Dogg. Yes, we're talking about the infamous Death Row Records, once ran with the iron fist by the notorious Suge Knight, currently doing a whole lot of time in prison. By the time he gets out of prison, if he is still alive, he'll be up in age, okay? And at that moment, everybody is saying Suge is punching air right now. So I go over to Hip Hop DX and I'll grant you some information right here and now. But I'll give you my own personal opinion as well. So there was a time when former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg's relationship was nearly fractured beyond repair. When the first time when Suge Knight was sentenced to 9 years in prison at the height of Death Row Records' success, from Snoop Dogg was decided at that moment. He needed to get out of the violence and his misfortune of, what Suge Knight was bringing. So, okay, he got him out of there. If, you were around back then, around that time, paying attention to what was going on, he actually ended up way down south, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But Master P and a tank that is Master P's movement, Snoop, actually came out and said that, man, listen, I was working against the devil. I had to get up out of here. And it was through the grace of God and Master P that Priority Records put a deal together on a table for me that was suitable for me. And, that saves me. But these two notorious figures have, over the years, buried the hatchet, according to him. Right? So there's no bad beef. I don't know about all that. Sometime what I think happened or was this, and I know Suge Knight's sons probably might see this, but when somebody gets so big and iconic that you can't seem to hold them back anymore, then it's out of your control. You just gotta respect their gang. Ask what happened to Snoop Dogg was a natural start. It was no way that Suge Knight was gonna hold him back, even though it was Death Row Records that launched him into superstardom. But Snoop became household name on his own through his own wits, his own dealings. You understand? And there was nothing that Suge Knight could do about how big Snoop was becoming. And in the meantime, as Snoop's popularity was growing and Snoopers maturing over the years and gathering and saving his dollars and cents and investing and, diversifying in his portfolio and becoming wealthy, Suge Knight was on a downward spiral. Snoop said, I didn't ever hate them. That's what he said, They really tried to, do whatever they tried to do to me back then, but I don't have that in me. I don't even have that in my system, he said. I'm not about that hate, but for some reason, people seem to keep pushing on or pushing over the fact that we mended that friendship. We already got past that on the down and how to talk with him. We're good. We're not enemies, right? Speaking to TMZ, Suge Knight's son made sure that he came out to set a record straight. He said, I'm happy just like everyone else. I kind of knew beforehand that this was going to happen. Snoop Dogg was going to take over Death Row Records and full ownership of it. I don't know how he knew, but he knew, he said, that this to me is like a silent victory because I spoke of all these executives and I spoke to all these executives myself and put the ideas for merchandising and for rebranding. Now to see it all fall in the hands of Snoop, I'm happy it's coming back to the West Coast. Hopefully now we can start winning. We lost Nipsey Hussle. We lost Kobe Bryant. We lost a lot of things. Well, bro, listen. The West Coast, yes, Kobe is more international than West Coast, but of course he played for the team that represents the West Coast, right? And Nipsey, of course, rapped the West all the way out, but he was never signed to Death Row. So with that said, Death Row Records have become default. It was no popping artist on the charts. Right now, in today's modern music, that was being produced out of Death Row Records when you saw big artists, and it ain't like it was back then in the day. You know, you had Tupac and you had Snoop Dogg, you had Dog Pound, you had like so many artists that are popping off on one label. It was like the most powerful label next to Puffy and Bad Boy in the music industry. That's what I'm talking about. So it hasn't been that for Death Row in a long time. Now, Suge Knight's son says, even after my dad went to jail, we start losing. Hopefully we start winning with the Rams and start winning now. If you know and you watch a Super Bowl, and the recent one, who won the Super Bowl, so they won the West. And it was at that point, I've seen the comments, and I think Suge Knight's punching the air, you know, people were saying. But now we cool, he's speaking for him. And his dad, like, now we cool. I'm sorry, I think Suge Knight's still punching air. And, you know, I still think he's punching there. Because Death Row was like Suge Knight's baby for him, you know? And for him to lose it all, and all the trouble you got into, and he had to liquidate his assets to get himself up and out of the trouble, and still ended up in prison with mad years, like 2 decades, and change. And then to see somebody who was under him, Snoop was considered to be under him. You're an artist, you make music and you get money, right? I'm a boss, I own a label, I tell artists what to do, was the kind of attitude. So now Snoop elevates to where you used to be, and you're now nowhere around. You're taken out of society, doing time in prison for a long time to come. You got to be punching the damn air. He might not be punching the air because he's mad at that Snoop got on the label, even though I think he is. That's just a slap in the face. That's like seeing your baby mama with your enemy from the other night. Or that's like seeing your baby moms that you treated really bad, that could have been the one that you let get away, and then you see a busted ass enemy that's wife's, you know, like wifing her up, treating her good, giving her everything, and she is happy as shit, you know? And that just hurts. So yes, I think he's punching there. And even if he ain't punching there, because Snoop got the label, he must be punching there because of all the mistakes that he made and his lifetime to put him where he's at. Just think about it. If he had stayed on a straight and narrow path, and I'm talking about Suge Knight, had stayed on a straight and narrow path and managed his business and his business only, without all that other tough, you know, guy shit and that gangster stuff and violence, all of that, imagine what he could have been today. But you know, you let me know what you think in the comments below. You know, please like and subscribe and check it out.